Hey guys, Mike with Gettin Greasy Garage. So today I'm gonna get into some of the wiring tools that I use. I have a few other things I couldn't find them to get them out, so um, I'm gonna start with very basics and then work my way up from there. A lot of this stuff is irrelevant to a guy doing just a couple of lights on a vehicle. If you're gonna get heavier into wiring, then the specialty stuff is obviously needed. Some of it's really expensive, some of it's cheap, but anyway, let's get started here. First and foremost, battery post cleaner. Got a brush, and it's got the post cleaner. A lot of people don't have these, and you can save yourself a lot of headaches with your vehicle just having one of these guys in your toolbox. They're cheap. You can get them at any parts store, online, Harbor Freight. Saves a lot of headaches. Okay, so since we're on battery cables, let's get into that. These are not a big pair, but for most, up to I've cut up to 2-aught cable with these, which is really as big as you're going to use. And they weren't horribly expensive. I got these on eBay. They're actually very sharp. You don't want to get your finger in there, but your basic cable cutters, wire cutters. They're a little hefty for regular wire, but for your battery cable and your stuff heavier than say 10 gauge. These are pretty handy to have. Okay. Your basic lineman's pliers. They got a pretty they got long handles and they got a pretty good sized cutter. So you can cut up pretty good sized wire. You can get these to Harbor Freight, auto parts store. Um, they're not perfect, but they will get the job done for you. And then they got the regular pliers part too, but the cutter is the important part. Okay, so then get into these guys. They got the cutter tips, but they're also crimpers. These ones are Cornwell. They're a copy of the Thomas and Betts, which they're over $100 a pair. They're works of art. Thomas and Betts have an orange and a black handle. That's how you'll know them when you see them, without looking at the etched in name, and everybody else copies them. Uh, these are my most common go-to cutters crimpers. These are Cornwell. I think they're like $40, $50 a pair. You can get these. A Harbor Freight copy, which are a little bit bulkier through here, still work pretty good. Harbor Freight has a pair for like $20, I think. We get into the lighter cutters. These guys, cheap ones. These are GBs. GB is a company that makes wire connectors and tools and stuff. Um, you can cut real light wire with these. They got real small jaws and they're pretty thin. So, you start getting too big a wire, these things just don't like it. Now, the other thing that these work really good for, the cheap ones are like $5 a pair. These GBs were like $20 a pair. It's cutting off zip ties, so you don't leave that sharp little tang that when you run your hand by it, it slices you open like a razor blade. That's what I use these for, is cutting zip ties. But they are wire cutters. Okay, so now that we've gone through the wire cutters, started with battery cable, we'll jump back to battery cable crimpers. These guys. Different size dies, you just rotate them for different size connectors, and then you put them on there, and it gives a good six-sided crimp. definitely a lot of force. I mean, these things are pretty stout. They're like a small pair of bolt cutters. If you're building battery cables or heavy wire, these are must have. Um, I think I gave $70 on eBay for those. Then you got the big mammoth gamma for battery terminals. Spring loaded. Put your terminal in there in the wedge. Lower this down on it. Set it on a solid surface. Break it with a hammer, and it will crimp, and it crimps very well. Um, these work for certain things better than the hand crimpers. So another handy tool, $25. Let's see, wired strippers. Now I've got different pairs, different types. So, and I've got some specialty stuff. These are your basic Harbor Freight cutters, crimpers. Um, $8 a pair. They work well. I like the skinny nose. You get in tight spaces. Handles are a little bit long. I don't have huge monkey hands. They got an easy lock on them. $8. Sharp. They hold up pretty well. My favorite, another GB product. I love these. These things are compact. They're small. Again, cutters, crimpers, and they got the little plier on the end. These are my go-tos for strippers. If I'm doing a wiring job, unless it's something unusual or I need a bigger tool, this is what I use. I can't find a part number on there. If anybody wants the part numbers on this stuff or even a link, I'll get you the info. These are old school style strippers. So you put your wire in there, and it's got adjustable depth and it's all adjustable, and then you just squeeze it and it strips the wire. They make several different styles of these. Now, I don't like these because they do break off strands of wire, but you will see similar styles. Now, these were an uncle of mine, and he's passed away, so I keep them in my toolbox just as a little keepsake. Um, oh, these here. Okay, these guys are kind of unique. I don't even remember. I think I got these when I got those other strippers. They were my uncle's. And you can see the teeth in there. And you just put your wire in, give it a twist, pull. These take up a lot of room, especially for any tight confines. They work okay. They're not really my go-to. They're in my box for if I need them. But another, pretty much another keepsake. They got a lock on the end. Um, more specialty clippers. So these are for those double crimp type terminals, what I call double crimp, like all the ones that I showed in the last video. They're ratcheting. Um, I'm not real fond of these. They're big, they're bulky, and it seems like that when you get a crimp down tight, you can't go that last little bit to release it. These are not fancy ones, and they're there if I need them, but I don't really use these. Again, I'm just showing you what I have so you can see what there's different styles. Everybody has their own preferences. So these are specialty. They're ratcheting. These are for spark plug wires. You got the stripper, and the special crimper. These, I did a separate video on these. These work spectacular. I've had other styles of spark plug wire crimpers, and I recommend these. They work great. They work every time, and they're ratcheting. There's your name and backwards in the camera. Anyway, if you're building spark plug wires, like I like to buy the universal spark plug wire kits, and that way I can route all my wires nicely, like I did on engine for Black Betty. If you go back to some of my videos, you'll see that. So you can route them, cut them to the right exact length, and then you crimp the terminals on. So I was getting big here, and those double, what I call the double crimp terminals, the first part you crimp down holds the wire, and then the second part holds over the sheath of the wire. These guys, and you can see there's different sizes on each one. Now these were not cheap. That ratcheting pair was cheap and does not work as good as these. I got these from the American Auto Wire website. These are the recommended tools from them to use with all the connectors supplied in their kits. However, both pair $160. So unless you're doing something serious like a full wiring harness kit or you're a wiring nut like me, you probably don't really need these. That's where these guys come in. You can see the couple of different size crimps there. These will suffice in most instances. Crimp your standard yellow, blue, and red crimp connectors, insulated or non insulated. 9 times out of 10, these will get you by. You, these guys are specialty. So, um, that's a choice. A couple other items. Harbor Freight has these. You can get as fancy and spend as much money on these as you want. Um, I have a Fluke, but I kind of like these little cheap $5 Harbor Freight multimeters. Um, if I drop it, it gets wet, something happens to it, I'm not out much. In fact, a lot of times Harbor Freight, they give these away. You can see in their ads, you spend $10 or something, you get a free tool. And these things work very well for being an inexpensive digital digital multimeter. Another basic tool, you can get these Harbor Freight online, a couple different ones. Test light. This is the first test light I ever bought. Still have it. Still works. This one here, she's getting a little bit beat up. Got some tape on there and a zip tie holding it together. Um, but this one I took the alligator clip off and I have a pin on it. These are a great way to test for power on a circuit. It's got a light bulb inside of it, easy to use. Um, from here, like I said, you can get very expensive multimeters. You go from these to these, and you go up. Um, there's other electrical tools. This is all what I use for the most part. Not a lot of it's fancy. I'm a simple guy. I like what I like. You are free to do whatever you want, and I'm sure I'm going to get some comments down below. Oh, why do you use that? Why not use this? Hey, you use what you want. I use what I prefer. So I just thought I'd show you guys some different tools that are available, what they're used for, my preferences. And again, this is my opinion, strictly my opinion. You're welcome to do whatever you want. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you would, please like, share, comments go down below. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you are subscribed, thank you. If you're not, make sure to subscribe. We're up to 235 subscribers and looking to hit 500. 500 would be a great milestone for the channel. She's been slowly growing. Um, as the channel grows, I get better at this, and you guys get better content. So, anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.